After dinner, her husband suddenly said, "Emily, I've decided to give Sarah my apartment for her wedding." What an unexpected surprise. You've been thinking about this for a while, haven't you? Why am I just hearing about this now? Emily asked. Last week, Sarah called me and told me that after the wedding, she and Ethan would have nowhere to live because they don't have a place. In her two-bedroom apartment, her mom and grandmother live, and Ethan still lives with his mother in a small flat. We, on the other hand, rent out our apartment so you could say we're helping others with housing, Mark explained. Yes, dear, we rent it out, and we get money from the tenants, which is how we live. If we don't have the apartment, we won't have that money. Do you get it? Emily asked. Of course, Emily, I understand. If I give Sarah our apartment, our income will decrease. It won't just be less, it will be significantly less. Emily, said Mark. Mark and Emily married 8 years ago. Mark had already been married before and has a daughter named Sarah, who recently turned 18 and announced she was getting married. Emily and Mark also have a daughter, Lily, who just turned 7. Listen, Mark, there are 2 things that could cause confusion. First, your daughter Sarah is getting married at 18. At that age, it's better to focus on studies and career. But honestly, that doesn't really concern me. Let her mother handle it. However, the second thing, your idea to give her the apartment, is worrying me. Emily, our finances will certainly decrease, but remember, I won't be paying alimony anymore. So in the end, we'll be in the same situation. We won't be. If your salary were $1,000 a month, that would be a different story. But you earn $450 a month, and if we lose the rental income, it will be very noticeable for us, Emily responded. Well, we'll just have to save a little. Besides, Sarah will have her own place, Mark tried to convince her. What about Lily? Emily asked. What do you mean about Lily? Mark asked, confused. Are you planning to buy an apartment for Lily as well? Emily inquired. We'll save together and buy it, Mark replied. Why isn't your ex-wife helping with buying Sarah a place? You could combine your efforts and buy it together, Emily pointed out. Emily, you know my ex has nothing, and Lily is still small. We'll save for her place. Don't worry, we'll manage. Who exactly will manage that, Mark? With your salary as a history teacher, you earned only $450 last month. And that's without any alimony deductions, Emily exclaimed. Emily, but we're not starving. We have everything we need, Mark replied. True, we're not starving. But you make me say this. My salary is much higher than yours, and my bonuses are pretty good. By the way, you could be earning more if you accepted my father's offer to work in his company. But you proudly said that you don't want a job just moving papers. I've always seen myself in a different role, not as a manager. My job brings me satisfaction. It's lively and interesting, Mark explained. Despite the fact that this manager holds a minor position, his income is much higher than yours. I always dreamed of having 2 children, but I realized that our family's financial situation doesn't allow for that. Even with the first child, I had to rely on help from my parents. Now you can blame me for everything. But didn't you know what you were getting into when you married me? I wasn't rich then either. I've always worked in a school, Mark said in defense. I hoped you'd realize that a man should take care of his family and start taking action. But it seems like everything suits you. You've become complacent and dragged us into your problems. You want praise for being such a wonderful father who gave his daughter an apartment. But you forgot you have another daughter, our Lily. That evening, the couple didn't come to any agreement. Emily slept alone in the bedroom, while Mark slept on the couch in the living room. The next evening, Emily and Lily went to her parents' house. Lily watched interesting cartoons in the living room while the adults went to the kitchen. Emily complained to her parents, I don't know how to convince him, he's stubborn as a mule. Sarah has nowhere to go, and as her father, I must help her. She asked for my help, and I can't refuse. Do you think Mark would give his daughter the apartment if he had nowhere to live? Her father asked. I doubt it, her mother said. Why should he worry about things like housing and rental income? He has a wife with her own house and a stable, decent income. Nothing will change for him. All the worries will fall on Emily, who'll have to manage and be frugal. Well, I'm not going to hunt for discounts on food, but I dream of taking a vacation every year, updating my car and saving for Lily's education, Emily said with a slight sigh. And Mark? He says we don't need to go to the seaside every year and that I can do without a car since he uses public transport and is fine with it. But I need a car for my work. It's not even on his radar. You, Emily, are partly to blame for what happened. You took on too much, and Mark noticed. He's relaxed and now he needs a little push, her father said thoughtfully. How do I do that? Emily asked. I was planning to tell him that if he gives Sarah the apartment, I'll file for divorce. Maybe I should approach him more gently and try to discuss it calmly, her mother suggested. How can I do it calmly? I'm like a cash machine for the family, Emily said, frustrated. He's fulfilling his alimony obligations, but that's his duty. He occasionally buys Sarah gifts, and that's fine. But his ex-wife has called several times, asking for things for Sarah, coats, boots, a trip to camp. For Sarah's 16th birthday, he gave her an expensive laptop, and for her 18th, a smartphone I could only dream of. When I asked him where he got the money, he said he had saved it for a year, hiding it from the family. And now, the apartment. Honestly, I've been thinking about divorce for a while. I can take care of myself and Lily. But I don't see the point in dragging him along when he's not even trying to change. You know Mark's favorite argument, but we're not starving. Well, we're not starving, but I'm tired of it. Mark, if you give your apartment to Sarah, I will file for divorce. I'm not joking, Emily said firmly. If you listen to yourself, I don't have to support my daughter, Mark snapped. Fine. If you want to help Sarah solve her housing problem, you can sell your apartment and split the proceeds. Sarah and her husband can use that money for a mortgage, and the rest can go toward buying a place for Lily. That would be fair, Emily suggested. Let me decide what to do. After all, it's my apartment. I'm not telling you what to do with yours, Mark said confidently. Yes, you're not giving advice, but you're living in it, Emily retorted. 4 days later, Mark went ahead and made the generous gesture, writing up a deed of gift for Sarah. When Emily heard about this, she decided to file for divorce. Mark was shocked, and Emily insisted that he leave her apartment, especially since he was registered in the one-bedroom apartment he gave to his older daughter. Where should I go now? Mark asked, puzzled. Maybe your daughter Sarah can help you. Or you can go to your parents. I heard there's a shortage of teachers in rural schools, Emily replied. 2 months later, they separated. There was no point in dividing the property. The apartment belonged to Emily. She bought it before they married, and the car was registered in her father's name. Later, it was revealed that Sarah had no intention of getting married. She made up the story to convince her father to give her the apartment. She didn't let Mark move in. Now, Mark lived in a room in a communal apartment, paying $1,000 for utilities. Another $1,000 came in alimony for Lily's needs, leaving him with just over $2,000 for himself. He no longer bought gifts for his daughters as his finances were tight.